What's up everyone, Darcblade here again with my Mass Effect 3 multiplayer class guide. Today we are going to be taking a look at our second DLC character, the Batarian Soldier. At first, I must confess I was a little bit put off by the Batarian Soldier, thanks to its looks as well as its abilities when reading them on paper. But after spending some time with this class, getting to know its abilities, I've come to realise that this is quite a nice character to play as. Now as always, as with all my videos, I spec my characters for gold and silver mode, and the Batarian Soldier will be no different. Now with all DLC characters, they come with new and unique moves. The first move that the Batarian Soldier has is Ballistic Blades. Now I'll get more into what the actual move does in a minute, but as for the spec, I spec it to do more damage, increase its range. You can either spec it to do a more damage over time effect, a bigger bleed effect, or you can make it that the blades actually explode. If you're playing on the lower difficulties, maybe go for the exploding blades, as enemies die quicker. The second ability is Blade Armor. This is a nice damage reduction ability, similar to Tech Armor, with a few extras added to it. I tend to spec this for power recharge, shield recharge, although you can do damage returned, and durability to help you survive. Inferno grenades, I just take them as an extra source of damage. You don't have to take these if you don't want to, but I like them there. As for Batarian Enforcer and Fitness, I always say these are down to personal preference. I personally like to reduce the weight of my weapons, as well as increase my power damage. I also like to max out my health and shields, as the Batarians have a lot of health and shields compared to other races out there. As for weaponry, I like to take a nice sniper rifle, not a too heavy one though, for long range combat situations, and a shotgun for the close range. I took the Kishot harpoon gun here because it's a Batarian weapon, and I was role playing a little bit. Anyway, let's get into the main meat of the episode and talk about the Batarian Soldier's abilities and powers. Now I'm going to change the order slightly here. I'm going to talk about Blade Armor first instead of Ballistic Blades. Blade Armor is basically similar to Tech Armor, with the added advantage of it returns melee damage to the person who's attacked you at a certain percentage. It will also increase your melee damage as well. Now all of these stats can be augmented with the Blade Armor's spec tree. You can make it so you take less damage, you can make it so you return more damage, or you can make it so you give out more melee damage. These are all down to you. I personally feel they're most useful though, especially at the harder difficulties, to make it so you take less damage. You can tell you got Blade Armor activated because the Batarian Soldier, when he casts it, will form these spikes that come out of his armor, which is pretty cool. All this comes at a cost though. Unfortunately, once you've got Blade Armor activated, as with Tech Armor, you incur a power recharge timer penalty, which will increase the time your powers recharge at. This isn't too bad though, as with some good weapons, you won't really feel the impact of not having a really fast recharge timer on your Ballistic Blades, as at the end of the day, your Ballistic Blades are the only ability you're going to be really worried about recharging. And that brings us into the second ability that the Batarian Soldier has, Ballistic Blades. These are a wonderful ability that the Batarian will aim at people and fire these razor-sharp blades at people. Unfortunately, it's quite close range, so it's really not effective at long range. The blades will also make enemies bleed, doing a damage over time effect on them. Enemies who are also hit with the Ballistic Blades will stagger, making them stumble a bit, giving you an opportune time to take a shot at them. As with all abilities, you can edit what the Ballistic Blades specialise in. For example, you can make it so the Ballistic Blades explode after a set amount of time. Of course, this is probably more useful on the lower difficulties where enemies die quicker, but on the harder difficulties, it's probably more beneficial to increase the damage and the amount of bleed time the blades do. I personally always like to spec into the range that these Ballistic Blades do. I really do like this ability, and I hate that it's so short range, so I try to get the most out of it and increase the range as much as I can. I personally feel that the Ballistic Blades work well in unison with a shotgun. They both have a very hard impact shot, and the Ballistic Blades are almost like having a shotgun shot in the form of an ability. The Ballistic Blades are a combat move, and as thus can be used to activate teammates' combos. They can't be used to set up any combination, unfortunately though. The only combination that the Batarian Soldier can actually do by himself, without any ammo or anything like that, is a fire explosion. This is thanks to inferno grenades. When an enemy is hit with an inferno grenade, it puts a fire debuff on them, similar to if they had been hit with incinerate. As such, you can activate this fire explosion with your ballistic blades. Unfortunately, fire explosion is only activated if the enemy dies whilst the fire buff is still on them. It's probably one of the strongest tech combos in the game, but unfortunately it takes a little bit of luck and skill to pull off. Fire grenades on their whole are quite a nice damaging move. They require no power recharge timer as well. Unfortunately, they do come in limited supply, so fighting near an ammo box is quite useful when you're relying on grenades to kill enemies. Unfortunately, replenishing your grenades on gold difficulty is a little bit more tricky compared to bronze, as only one of your grenades are replenished per ammo box on gold. You could put more points into inferno grenades, especially if you liked using them, but I personally would find it hard to sacrifice points from the blade armor, ballistic blades, Batarian Enforcer and fitness. The passive Batarian Enforcer tree, I like to put points into decreasing my weapon weight as well as increasing my power damage. You could spec it so it does headshot damage, especially if you rely on weapons a little bit more than your powers, but I personally feel the way I've spec'd is more beneficial than the headshot damage. You could also drop the points in the Inferno Grenades so you can get the last weight reduction perk. As for fitness, I spec the Batarian Soldier like I do normally all my characters, and that's to increase the shields and health of the character. This is because at the difficulty that I play at, you need the health and shields more than you do the increased melee damage. The Batarians, as a race, are a strong race. They have high health and high shields compared to other races out there. They're almost on par with the Krogan in terms of health and shields. Unfortunately, this high health and high shields does come at a cost. They have decreased mobility. They're not exactly the fastest race out there. They also have no dodge moves, similar to the Krogans and the Turians. This decreased mobility and lack of a dodge move means that they have trouble avoiding damage. But I guess at the end of the day, this is why they have the high health and high shields. The Batarians have an awesome set of melee moves. Even their normal melee moves are quite high damaging. They also look quite good as well, especially if you use a rifle-shaped gun. The 3-hit combo is quite amusing to watch. But one of the best moves that they have is their heavy melee. It's a charge-up power punch. That's all I can describe it as it sends enemies flying, and it does a lot of damage. It's a really fun move to witness. As a risk, if you really wanted to, you could edit your fitness tree to reduce your health and shields a little bit in favour of increasing your melee damage. But again, like I said, this is a risk. In gold mode, it doesn't always pay off, as doing melee in gold modes is not always the safest move to do. So, overall, the Batarian Soldier is a tough class. It's very hard hitting and very good at withstanding damage thanks to its blade armour. Its offensive abilities are very damage over time orientated. So for example, you could hit someone with ballistic blades, someone else with inferno grenades, then turn around and start shooting at other people. The people you've hit with the ballistic blades and inferno grenades will still be taking damage while you're off focusing on someone else. Use this to your advantage. Maybe dot up as much people as you can. As for weaponry, like I said, I bring a sniper rifle for long range combat and a shotgun for short range. You can maybe edit this depending on what level you're going on, but as a whole, the Batarian Soldier will rely on weapons a little bit more than other classes, so you choose whichever weapon you feel most comfortable with. In a team attempting gold mode, a Batarian Soldier could fulfill a tank role or a damage dealing role, depending what you prefer. Anyway, I've been Darcblade, bringing you my guide to the Batarian Soldier in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.